Hey, what is up YouTube? Kolst here. So the Maw and Disorder Mini-Set has been announced. This will be the mini-set related to Murder at Castle Nathria expansion. It's coming out on September 27th, which I believe is next Tuesday. Obtainable through the normal means, which is now either gold or runestones instead of money. There's also an all golden version if you're a whale or you just want to get dust really quickly. I think it's actually a pretty good deal for that. And they've announced down here that they will also be doing a bunch of reveals over the weekend, so all the cards are going to be announced in the next 3 days. Some have been announced today, which we're going to be talking about in a little bit. There's also some mercenaries stuff Monday as well, and then the patch will launch immediately the next day. Before we talk about these cards, which some of these are really spicy, let's go really quick to Twitter, because there was an arena event that's been teased by Matt London. When Matt London teases stuff, it tends to happen rather quickly. So there was a tweet to him saying that nothing's been done to pique interest for people that aren't really playing arena all the time, you know, and he says there's something coming up that is meant to do that. So he tweeted this about a week ago, and so if you're new to Hearthstone or Arena in general, typically around October-November is when the Hallows End event has historically happened, which is when Dual Class Arena happens. When Dual Class Arena happens, you get to choose a hero, but then you get to choose a different hero power, and your class's cards will be a combination of both classes. I'm suspecting that this is what he's teasing here. Now, I don't know if this is coming now with the mini set. There's been really no other indication that it is. I think it might be coming a month from now. It might be the next major patch, but I'm expecting that's what's coming soon, or maybe they're going to do something completely different. Who knows? But it's a good reminder, I guess, just make sure you're subscribed to this content and click the bell so you'll be notified as soon as we know about whatever this is that'll happen. We'll see when it happens. But with that, let's jump right into the new cards here. They revealed 8 cards so far. The mini set is 35 cards, 5 neutral, 30 class cards. They've revealed all 5 of the neutrals already and 3 of the class cards. So let's start off with the neutral legendaries. This is actually the less spicy one here. Believe it or not, this is Sylvanas the Accused. 6 mana, 5/5 battle cry, destroy an enemy minion. If you infuse this for 7, however, take control of it instead. So this is mind control on a stick, if you can infuse it. Now, we're going to be talking primarily about Arena, as we always do, of course. Infusing for 7 is really hard. It is not a given that, especially not on curve, you're not going to be able to just mind control anything you want. What's going to happen a lot of the time, I think, is you're just going to play this as an assassinate on a stick. But, you know, Rogue has had cards that they require some combo or some kind of activation, but they'll be like 5 mana 3/4 or 4/4 destroy a minion effectively. So this is 6 mana 5/5. It's the same kind of efficiency, right? And these cards are just very, very good, but not insane. If you can happen to hold it long enough, it's going to require you to like maybe keep it in the opening hand. Then of course the mind control is great, but I think that's just not going to happen very often. So overall, probably a very, very strong card, but I don't think something to necessarily panic about. So let's talk about another card here, which let's just talk about it. This is called the Jailer. 10 mana 10/10 battle cry, destroy your deck. For the rest of the game, your minions are immune. Well, that escalated quickly. Okay. So it's notable that this does not destroy your hand, so you can still, I mean, you have to spend an entire turn usually actually playing this thing, and then it will be immune, and then everything else is immune. If you're not familiar with how immune works, you can imagine that it's essentially like having your minions have permanent stealth and divine shield. They cannot be targeted, but they can be destroyed by things like, you know, showered ruin, twisting nether, things that just destroy indiscriminately. But generally speaking, a lot of classes have absolutely no way to interact with them. They can also be frozen, for example, by like a frost node. So like, I mean, the clear design of this card is that it's going to end the game extremely, extremely quickly. This thing hitting you in the face 3 times will kill you, but you can also play this, and then any minions you play the next turn will also be immune. Anything you had on board is going to be immune. Just the game's not going to last very long. If your opponent plays this, obviously you have nothing to do but just go face and hope you kill them in time. Now, since this card itself doesn't have initiative, it isn't going to save you if you're behind, you know, compared to like a raid boss Onyxia or something like that. It's just not going to be nearly as good in that situation. However, if you're slightly ahead, or most of the time even on an even playing field with your opponent, if you play this, you win, the game is over. Your deck will be gone, but you probably just won't really need anything, and you only are going to fatigue, you know, once, twice, and it's not going to deal a significant amount of damage most of the time. So really, it's just kill or be killed. So overall, because of the lack of initiative, this probably isn't going to be that insanely powerful of a card, but it's going to be an extremely frustrating thing because when you least expect, if you're trying to play slow, your opponent will just play this and then the game will be over. But I'd be really interested to hear what you guys think about this card, so make sure to leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Let's move on to the other non-legendary neutrals here. There are 3 of them. So the first one is Afterlife Attendant. This is a 3 mana 3/4, a spider tank. Your infuse cards also infuse while in your deck. So that's a very cool effect. Let me know if I'm wrong in the comments, but I assume once this dies, it'll already be dead, so you won't get to infuse just off of this dying. So it requires you to have other minions die, which obviously if you're playing on curve, you can trade off your 2-drop, already get 1 infuse. Could be very nice. Obviously, that can get you a head start in some of these infuses that are really hard, but obviously that doesn't matter if you don't actually draw the infuses because they're not in your hand. But it's a cool card. It's a 3 mana 3/4 upside. You know, it's going to be added to the very long list of 3 mana 3/4s with upside that are all pretty decent arena cards that you'll see a decent amount. This one's a rare, so you'll see it pretty often. The other one is also a 3-drop with upside, but this is epic. You'll see it less often. This is Tightlipped Witness, a 3 mana 2/5. Secrets can't be revealed. So this would be a very nice card to have in the current meta with how many secrets there are. It doesn't destroy the secret directly, but you know, in wild, you know, this is going to be in a lot of decks because its interaction with Ice Block is pretty nice. But overall, I mean, you're not going to see it that much. It's a pickable card. We'll have to see in the next rotation because there is going to be a rotation with the mini set. I should have mentioned that earlier, but there almost always is, so expect that. And there might not be nearly as many secrets, so this might not be that good, but at the worst, a 3 mana 2/5 is not unpickable. Talking about unpickable, though, we move on to the next card, the last one, which is kind of weird that they made this one the common, but oh well. Soulseeker, a 5 mana 3/3, Battle Cry. Swap this with a random minion from your opponent's deck, because apparently big decks that only played a big minions were a thing in Constructed, so they wanted to have a tech card to destroy them, I guess. I don't know why this is getting printed, to be totally honest, but I mean it is. And as far as in arena, you know, this is not good. You on average are not going to pull something that's worth 5 mana out of your opponent's deck. It can happen. You might pull out their Ysera or their Stoneborn General. That might be amazing, but you know, most of the time this is bad. You're just not going to want this. Well, now let's move on to the class cards. There have been 3 revealed, one for Shaman, Rogue, and Druid, I believe. First one, Totem Evidence. This is a 1 mana spell in Shaman. Choose a basic totem and summon it. If you infuse, I assume this means infuse with 3 totems. I believe that's what it means. Seems pretty clear. Summon all 4 instead. In Arena, you probably aren't going to have a totem deck. You're probably not going to have some way to get a bunch of totems, so this kind of implies you might have to hero power 3 times, which is very difficult to do. So you're probably not going to be infusing this very often. However, sometimes you might be able to if you're just playing slow and you just hold on to this for a while, and then it might have some upside. There's some synergies theoretically, but you know, this is not really arena stuff. However, just getting like a 1 mana heal totem, or maybe even a 1 mana strength totem, but I think heal totem is the one that can very often actually be worth a 1 mana card, and in very rare cases like strength totem 2 might be worth it. But just getting a 1 mana heal totem is probably not terrible, right? So I don't think you're going to want to be picking this too much, honestly, but it's not a terrible card. Just having a turn 1 strength totem, if you think you're going to curve out with it, might be pretty okay. So not great, but pickable card, I think. Next one here is Murder Accusation. This is a rogue spell. Choose a minion, destroy it after another enemy minion dies. So this is kind of like a weird hybrid between like assassinate, execute type thing. You have to activate it by destroying another enemy minion. It's a little bit weird because if your opponent just has 1 minion, you can't use this immediately, right? You could put it on an enemy minion, but then your opponent could even choose to just not play another minion, and then you can't work, right? So it's interesting. I think enough of the time though, your opponent, I mean, usually your opponent's going to play multiple minions, and you can just put this on something to assassinate it while you also kill something else. It requires you to actually have the ability to kill another minion, but Rogue has a lot of small removals, so hopefully you'll be able to do that, right? So compared to like an assassinate, there is a cost of that situationalness, but your upside is having a 2 mana cheaper assassinate, and I think that's going to make it worth it. So this card's going to be probably not crazy broken because it's not always going to work, but it's just a very good card, I think, most of the time. And the last card we have here, Talk about Unpickable. Nice meme though for this one. It is Due Process. I do appreciate that one. 2-mana nature spell in Druid. For the rest of the game, players draw an extra card at the start of your turn. This is a candidate for possibly the worst card to ever exist in Arena in any meta ever, period. Because this is a bad card. This card's effect is negative. Your opponent gets the draw before you, right? So it's not actually neutral effect. This is a bad effect. It's like, it reminds me of the Taverns of Time effect, where Druid also had cards that were actually not just neutral, but actually bad. This is another bad card. If this card costs 0, it would still be really, really bad. Because on top of that, you're also minus a card. Yeah, like, I mean, this is just, as far as Arena is concerned, pretty much is only going to function as a way to make their spell discovers worth. There might be mill decks that come back and use this. We're talking about Arena, of course, so that might exist. But as far as Arena is concerned, this is absolutely terrible. But with that, that is it for this video. I'll be hopefully putting some more reveal videos. I might try to do one per day, as they are putting the reveals out the next couple days. Tomorrow is another legendary with Priest, Warlock, and Rogue, and then it's Hunter, Paladin, Warrior, and then Druid, Mage, Shaman. So, oh, and Demon Hunter as well. So, looking forward to that. Hope you guys are as well. If you like this stuff, don't forget to like the video, comment, subscribe, all of that. Once again, thanks a lot for hanging out. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.